Hi, I'm Kyley.
And I'm Kimberly.
And this is
Trisha.
And we are Behavior Analysts React.
Hello, guys. Okay,
All right.
are you ready? Ready?
I'm gonna be, ladies.
All right, let's
Okay.
flow.
Why stimming is so
have a
important.
child who's autistic, please let them have the space to freely stim. And this is why I say this. I've come to the realization that as an autistic adult, looking back at my childhood, I wasn't stimming very much. It's just because there was a lot of shame of looking weird and not a lot of understanding about what stimming really looks like and how it manifests itself. This caused me to have a lot of pent-up energy that I repressed while I needed to stim. And that's manifested into having kind of stiff mannerisms as an adult now. I know a lot of autistics stim with fidget toys or something of that effect to deregulate and kind of like self-soothe and kind of release that energy. And I found that the real life adult equivalent of that for me is when I'm walking and holding my phone in my hand. I literally feel my nervous system calming down as I'm holding something like my phone or my sunglasses while I'm walking. I realize that if I don't hold on to something as I'm walking, there's a part of me that's like, how do I move my arms as I'm walking and look like a normal human being? And it ends up looking like really robotic.
Dude, I'm 100% that person who wants to push the stroller or push the shopping cart. I do not want to be the person that walks next to the shopping cart. Otherwise, I'm the one like awkward grabbing all of the things. Yeah.
I love what he's talking about for stimming and how as a child he didn't do it a lot, because I think we used to a lot program towards like social norms, and now our field is moving a lot more towards programming for the individual and looking at autism holistically and like looking at stimming as an itch that needs to be scratched, and preventing yourself from scratching that itch is not comfortable and should be done.
Awful.
Yes.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yes, and having that
about it more too.
Yes.
You think about it more. Can like
yes, it's worse.
When you're like, oh my gosh, I have to itch myself and I can't itch myself.
Yes. That's what he was saying, your stiff body.
Yeah.
Because your behavior management is so heightened of what I cannot be doing and what I should be doing.
Yeah, what do I do with my body?
robotic.
Like, yes. Like,
Autism, ADHD. What's the likelihood of these two coexisting? What's the prevalence of there being overlap for both of them to co-occur together? What's the current research say? Let's check it out. So the DSM is a reference manual. It was created back in the 50s. It's for diagnosticians, for healthcare providers, for clinical neuropsychologists, those that do the diagnosing to determine what the diagnosis is. It wasn't until 2013 that the DSM-5 came out and recognized that autism and ADHD can have a dual diagnosis, so just a little over a decade ago. If an individual received a diagnosis of autism prior to 2013, it automatically ruled out ADHD. And vice versa, someone like me who had a diagnosis of ADHD automatically ruled out autism. This is still new and there needs to be a lot of research, but what we currently know is this. If an individual has an autism diagnosis, at minimum 22% up to 83% of those individuals meet diagnostic criteria to also have ADHD. On the flip side, those with ADHD have 30 to 65% likelihood that they meet eligibility for autism as well. I put the research down in the caption, but if you're an ADHDer or autistic, I got news for you. I hope you found this helpful.
I'd love to see data.
Vibe from his other viewer.
Dear.
I love that.
I'd love to see data on like genetic stuff, like parents that have ADHD or autism and like the likelihood their children have a diagnosis. Like,
so true.
like there are things that you're like, okay, you're in your own world. Like that is your autism. Like, oh no, you got distracted and you're over there. Like
That's where sometimes like the lines get blurred. It's like, no, it's either this or this. And it's like,
yeah.
Interesting.
It's so hard to parse out.
Yeah.
That long ago, it was your one or the other.
Yeah.
There's no mix. There's no like spectrum of where you can sway.
Yeah.
You would rule each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both like neurodiversities too, like very clearly just like neurodevelopment changes. And so like,
but like
symptom.
ADHD, a lot of people go straight to medication too, right? And so, and you don't really go to medication for autism. And so that's also a tricky thing for parents to have to figure out, like, what all can we do before medication? You know, can ABA support that? It's not a one shoe fits all.
Well, and ABA helps ADHD like a ton, like a ton. I mean, it's some of the best strategies you could use for ADHD, but it's not usually like the strategy you go to medication. But if it was a service like or a diagnosis are service supported.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, under medical necessity,
Yes.
autism,
Right.
not ADHD.
Yeah.
right,
Right.
right. And then
That would just
with
be like the
overlap, that
sub.
really like opens questions.
Yep.
My oldest is autistic. She's on the spectrum, but she's like on the badass end of the spectrum. We had a note come home. It said, Alicia's been using the F word, but she's using it appropriately.
I love that.
I'm sorry.
Really, at least.
Was this good news? She was diagnosed nonverbal autistic. We didn't think she was ever going to speak. You're telling me she's using fuck appropriately? Where's my bumper sticker? My kid curses on a 7th grade level.
My church is on the 7th grade level.
The F word is a very diverse word. Like, there's a lot of ways to use it. To figure out how to use it appropriately takes like attention to language. Like,
And I do think there's a lot of age appropriateness that falls into place when we're working with teenagers and they're in their room and they drop something and you hear them from downstairs go, oh shit. And the moment you make eye contact,
And you're just like,
it's appropriate. They're old enough, but we can talk to them
didn't say
about
it
how
yes.
we don't use those words outside of our house.
Yes.
In their room, and that's what their peers are talking about.
Yes.
They're watching YouTube or TikTok.
You are really big on one topic in our field, which is sexual development. And that's a big question of like, things are going to happen. Where those things happen, where we learn about those things, how we teach those things, what do we do with those things are super important. She's great at the sex talk. She will make you practice very fun words.
Yeah.
Baby, let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the bad things.
But anyways, it's about being safe.
It is
So
safe.
yes. First, where do we do it? When do we do it? Who was our audience?
I mean, it's clear she's like code switching a little bit, right? She's cursing at school, not at home in front of her parents, which shows like appropriateness, like social appropriateness. Like,
You gotta get this man a bumper sticker, guys.
I know. His kid curses.
He's gotta get a bumper sticker.
Thank you.
Good job.
That was a good one.
Okay.
People on the internet are sometimes quick to point out that my son might be autistic because we vaccinated him, or maybe he needs a heavy metal detox. But I actually thought him being autistic had more to do with the fact that his dad, my husband, has a really specific preference for the way the two-way light switches in our house should be flipped. And it took several years of us being together before he stopped being stressed out that I couldn't commit to said plan and that I would not agree to flip the light switches in the correct direction depending on what level of the house I was on. Or the fact that my husband has saved basically every piece of packaging from anything he's bought in the last 15 years. About 10 years ago, we switched all the light bulbs in our house to smart lights. And now I have about 30 empty cardboard boxes in my basement stacked up very nicely. And anytime I ask my husband about them, he tells me that he'll take a look at them when he has a chance, but he needs to look at each box before he can decide whether or not he throws it away.
Autism.
So the science is already on my side here. And I don't think it's the vaccines.
I had a client once, three brothers that all had autism, and she looked at me one day and was like, I think I should have realized that my kids would be predisposed to autism when our first 3 dates with my husband was looking at the trains on the train track.
That is totally
Yeah, and I know.
yes. We love an informed woman.
Yeah. It was like hindsight realizations of like, it's a genetic thing. And
Yeah.
I see the genetic links here. I love how she was like, people try to tell me it's vaccines or heavy metal detox, but really, I've seen my husband's autism.
If you just kind of look internally within your little family structure, you could typically see the lineage there.
The apple to my son's tree. Like, my nephews both have autism, and my brother and sister-in-law are always like, that's her autism, that's his autism. Like, they call each other out in that way.
No, that ain't mine.
Yeah, like, autism's a beautiful, thing. It's not a dirty word. It's not a bad thing. Like, I understand it causes grief because it's changing the picture of the vision you had for your child. Like, their life is going to be a little harder than you imagined because they're going to need a little therapy to learn how to talk or things like that. But it's fun. Like, it can be fun. The world is a more beautiful place with autism in it.
Yeah.
Like, we would be missing something to have non-autistic, like if we didn't have autistic brains in the world.
And there's so much more information now than even when we were kids.
Yes.
So to be able to self-identify or look at your husband and say, oh yeah, those are characteristics of autism, you truly don't know that until you've lived with somebody with autism. Or you've had an ABA team come in and say, we need to change that, we need to do that. And then you start to self-identify. I have a mom that tells me I'm on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yes.
She didn't know that until she raised 2 beautiful children on the spectrum. And she's had ABA for 12 years with parent consultation. And now it's like, you can self-reflect because you have the information and the education, where before we just didn't know.
Autism was just the severe diagnosis. That nonverbal person who doesn't talk, who stims in the corner, who doesn't look at you. And like social media, the internet, like the prevalence of diagnosis, like the awareness, like has really just opened up everyone's eyes to the true like spectrum of the disorder.
I've seen more adults now identify as being autistic.
It's beautiful.
And being like, this explains that. Like a couple of even my husband's coworkers have like gone through that journey and have found their own like adult support systems because they're like, this explains a lot about who I am as a person. And in order to be a better leader, to be a better friend, to be a better person in general, I want to make sure I can better understand myself to set myself up for success so that like this doesn't hinder me. This is just like kind of like I was just missing this part of myself, and now I have the key to it to unlock the beauty.
There's TV shows now.
Yes.
Parenthood, Love on the Spectrum.
Characters. Yes.
The one on Netflix, I think it was called Autism.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I saw that. Yes.
Bringing the beauty and the humor and the reality of what all of it
It's normalizing the diagnosis and making it a mainstream, not a like thing in the corner that you don't talk about. Like seeing yourself represented is so important.
Yes.
Like having characters that you're like, oh, that's like me.
Yes.
Or
and
like
there's other perspectives. There's the parent in the family.
Yeah.
There's
like young Sheldon.
there's
I love.
the critical associate who was, I think, in parenthood and bringing that. And then there's
settings. Yes.
and
like
just all of the awareness from all of the different people that are huge players.
Yeah. Okay, everyone quiet. I have to read.
my son Cooper is 15 years old and autistic. Nonverbal.
You did it! Like, back up, buddy.
I love that. He used a video to show what he was. Well, one of my very first clients I ever worked with always scripted Disney movies. And I remember the moment I was like, oh, he's scripting parts to tell me things. Like he would script like an upset character when he was upset, or like a character talking about being scared if he was worried about something. Like it's so important to pay attention to things that just look like stims or like their interests, because it's often communication. Like if his mom wasn't paying attention, like, oh, whenever he shows us these videos, he's looking for these actions. Like
the other side of the coin is that I had a client who would use like movie quotes to threaten me in fun ways too. So that was very exciting as well. But creative points for sure. I was like, you know,
Communication is communication.
we love it. But
I like that you use words.
in my head, that was one of those moments where it's like, I want to reinforce this because I like the communication. So it was a lot of like, hey, I love that you're communicating to me. Let's be kind though. With our words. There's a couple of layers to that. He's playing baseball.
Yep.
You're the baseball mom. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure even like seeing someone have the opportunity to do something that they love, just like your boys have the opportunity to crush baseball. That's cool, the social opportunity there. And then he has his own way to celebrate. But I like that there was space given so that he could process and could find the thing that would represent what celebrating looked like for him.
Yes, and sometimes our, people with autism, their affect doesn't necessarily match exactly how they like feel internally. And so you have to rely on more than just like their facial expression or something like that.
If the mom's like instinctual reaction would be, hey, it's not time for device.
Right, like put your phone away. Exactly.
He's not going to like do something what is deemed appropriate. He's going to pull up a video.
Right.
So if she wasn't aware of what he may have been trying to do,
this is
just shut down.
Yeah, this is a mom who knows her son, like who's learned the way her son communicates and gives space for that.
It's such a good point though. Like if we try to force kids into like appropriateness, like we force them out of like other channels of communicating or creativity. Like I remember having that learning moment when I was a one-to-one therapist. I had those like wooden play fruit, those like Melissa and Doug, like Velcro ones that you cut up. And I was working on appropriate play with this client, and he was like taking all the pieces and putting them together. It was a Saturday morning session. I was tired and I was like, whatever. And so I kind of let him do it. I was mildly annoyed. And then I looked over and he had taken all the fruit and literally crafted it into a pterodactyl. He had like barely hooked all the little Velcro together. And I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Why? Yeah. I was gonna make him stop and I was lazy, so I did it. And I should have let him because I learned how to play differently with those toys. Like,
so how do you even do that?
I mean, I still can't. Like, it was so amazing. Like,
Michael's Cafe is dedicated to hiring and giving job training to people with developmental disabilities. Hi, my name's Kate, and I am a cook at Michael's Cafe. Working here, I've learned how to make new foods and smoothies. One day, I'd like to learn how to make an omelet. I'm really good scrambling eggs and the best cappuccino.
Oh, yeah.
I like working here because I get to meet new friends. Working at Michael's Cafe has made me feel confident. I look forward to keep growing and having new experiences here. I'm so proud to work here and be able to show everyone what I can do.
So proud. I love that there are more and more businesses cropping up that are specifically hiring people with special needs. It's just,
I'm gonna have a coffee shop.
At the grocery store.
I know, I wanna have a coffee shop and do that.
At the grocery store.
You see it more and more.
I feel like it was like just baggers at a grocery store when I was younger, but now like they will have people with developmental disabilities working in every role. Like
sorting stuff within the aisles. I had a client who learned how to do that, was take all of the stuff and go through each aisle and put stuff back and make sure everything was organized and tidy, because
that's such a great,
it's what he was good at, was making sure things were in the right spot.
Like, my room is organized, these shelves will be organized.
And so it's like, why don't we find a job that like caters to that strength? There are jobs that require like structure and like alignment and color coding. And so this just makes me happy that there's just different types of opportunities. You want to cook? Cool. There's a spot at the table for you. You want to make coffee? Great. Like, I like mine this way, you know?
The coffee shop over here in Huntington, they have like at the cash register, there's a little task analysis right next to it for like the cashier to follow if they need it. Like, and it's so cute. Sometimes you can see them referencing the task analysis, and sometimes they're super independent, but everyone can run the cash register.
I guarantee you everyone uses that task analysis.
Oh, they all have at some point for sure.
Like, I would. I'd be like, thank you for coming today.
Yes.
What do I do?
To use in the bathroom at Starbucks.
It's like
your hands. Everybody
get the soap.
You know what? It's like funny.
Have you guys read the Checklist Manifesto?
No.
It's a book that's literally like, you guys, if we write lists, people don't make mistakes. Airline pilots, bus drivers, teachers, like, that's a whole book.
Yeah.
We are Bathroom Designs, a social enterprise.
With over 65% of our employees on the autism spectrum.
United to bring
Possibilities to autistic adults.
support us. Order from us.
Help us change our story.
Support our mission.
So I can have a job.
So I can earn a paycheck.
So I could be independent.
What are you waiting for?
Go to spectrumdesigns.org.
I love that they showcased all the different employees and all the different
Also,
like ways that autism presents.
The spectrum.
Like the spectrum.
Literally the spectrum living and breathing in front of us.
I love all these job ones. These are so fun. I've only seen really like restaurants and coffee shops, like to have sounds like it was like a printing company or something.
But
like,
again, it's like we have so many clients who organizing numbers, labels, colors, like,
yes, I've honestly thought it's unusual that the businesses are more like food focused, because those are social, interactive focused businesses.
Lean into those strengths, because
like, go use your rigidity on my spreadsheet. Please.
Well, and we've talked sometimes too about like, what services do our adults have? And services could be jobs, independence within jobs, and making sure that those employers are able to like support them or provide them like boundaries to be able to work within and clarity on what their position is so that they understand it. But that is a lot of like what we need to continue to see more of.
I mean, a job is a huge part of having true independence.
Yes,
like you have to be able to sustain yourself and like pay your own bills. Like even if you are living on your own, like you probably still need a job. Like if you have support and you're coming into your home, like you probably still need a job in order to like live on your own, pay all those bills and things. Like,
and just like the other girl said, there's a confidence that comes in being able to like just do crap by yourself and to show that you can do it. And like,
and there's a like disempowerment of always having support. Like you might not even try, like if you don't have the opportunity to try and be independent and be successful.
How many logistic jobs do you think could be just filled up like by our autistic adult population? Think about air traffic controllers or something like that, where everything has to be 5 foot.
Anything that's ruled up some of that stuff out of people when actually we need those people.
Let's be
Following
real.
a recipe.
Yeah.
Like going to a bakery and having, let's make 52 different types of cookies. Here's all of the ingredients.
And in this time frame.
Yes. Imagine 15 years from now. Us,
like,
the world of ABA, the research, the jobs.
Like everything is, I
the
feel
awareness.
like on the cusp of opening up. Like the adults like that are speaking up and being like, I am an adult with autism. This is my experience. I was a child with autism and that was my experience and it sucked. Like, and now I'm an adult with autism and I have this job. I mean, just having people in shows that have autism are going to make employers more likely to make accommodations for somebody with autism because that diagnosis has been normalized for the employer. So like the more and more this is a mainstream experience, life experience, and the more and more social media and movies and TV shows are incorporating the autistic experience into like normal everyday
in different
life.
ways. In the spectrum of it.
Like the more things will open up, absolutely. Like to answer your question, I think any job could be filled by an autistic individual. Like any job, you need the right personality fit for the right job, and you might need the right accommodations for that individual. Like they might need a task list that they read over every time, but shouldn't we all have an SOP? Like, to print it out. Like,
I'll make one if we don't.
Yeah, 95.
Yeah.
Got you guys. I want to cry. This kind of stuff makes me cry.
It's interesting, she's blind, so it's not visual, the hand clapping, it's this physical sensation.
That is a gentle man right there.
He's like a street performer too.
Oh, this is probably like the highlight of his life.
Look at her reaction.
His too.
I'm not built for this right now.
Her face.
Oh, I see her.
And that made her smile. Got a mom. Mom had a mom for a little bit.
Wipe her nose. Yeah.
Like, this is such a beautiful moment. Let me get
Yeah, I just had to. I don't even have to. It was beautiful. It's perfect. It's
Will make me cry.
I mean, I love that he recognized that like she can't see, so he's giving her more sensory input by putting her hand on the
Immediate smile.
I mean, immediate. And then when he sang, she immediately smiled too. Like it's beautiful.
And you could see her kind of calm in a different way too once she was able to like
She was like not just excited, it was like engaged. Yeah.
Like that breath. I don't know.
Even the like flapping slowed down.
Yeah.
He touched it.
I just need more content like this in my life of like people taking time for other people.
I love a community member meeting somebody with a like diversity right where they're at, and like a barber that'll lay down on the floor and like, cut a kid's hair or something like that. It's just like
he could have just like smiled, acknowledged,
Like,
but
yeah,
he
you
got
think-
down.
yeah.
He's down. like on the floor with her. She's in her wheelchair. I believe she's in a wheelchair. I can't really see it, or a stroller.
And he was genuinely happy doing it too. He's smiling. He's
it fills our bucket more.
Yes, to the parent and to the child.
I mean, it must be so amazing for her parents to like experience like their child really being seen and connected with and like feel like included.
Validated for the amazing person she already is, but being recognized in that way by strangers too. And I just keep thinking like, how often have I walked by an opportunity where you could have just given someone a little bit more
and made their day,
but probably also made my own day more than even theirs.
Honestly, like doing something that like good for somebody else always just makes me feel so much better about it.
I think music therapy is kind of disrespected a lot in the sense it's like, oh, you're just playing some music, just play some music, but they don't think about like, the simple things that gets people moving, it gets people involved.
Reciprocity in it, like the conversational reciprocity. There's that, like with music, you stop, you listen, you play, you listen. Like
it's a different language.
Yes.
Music's everything, and like for
in
sure my
home.
household. I mean, it could be anything. It could be sports. It could be music. It could be cooking. It could be any of those things. If they mean something to the person who's receiving it,
it's the best way to teach them.
Like, it just has meaning, period, point blank.
Right, because you'll do more with it if you're interested in it. You're gonna engage more in the activity and inherently learn more because you're engaged more. And we all learn more in things that interest us.
Yeah, because let's be honest, if I'm bored, I like want to shut down.
Oh, I
this ain't
down. I'm here. My brain is over there.
We got Trisha a mug that says, I'm okay. What does it say?
I don't care.
I don't care.
That's because she hangs up meetings before any of us can say goodbye. If
you lost me.
Yeah, like she's not.
We're done talking about important things. I'm done talking.
I don't care, guys. Bye. And I love that for her. I love witnessing it.
Yeah. It works for us.
Favorite drum. Oh, and I need to be entertained. So it really fills a couple of buckets here.
Someone has to go first.
Yeah.
And it's you, always.
Yeah. Always Trisha. Just with her little mug.
Next on the beat, who's nice on beat? On the beat drama.
She looks like a baby-faced version of your older.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Pretty sweet man.
Man now.
He's taking us on a journey right now.
I love it.
Layer by layer.
Yeah. Drop it. I need to hear it.
I love the giggles. He's getting more and more excited as he builds it.
He's like,
oh.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
Wait.
I just like
DJ.
I mean,
right?
Like I had those skills, I would have loved to have been.
Listening to him build it and then like hearing his like excited giggle as it like came together was so cute. He was so proud of it. When you're autistic, you can't really talk. It's your fire beats that do the talking for you, and they sure did.
Yeah. Music, things that interest people are important, and if they're important, they'll mean more for that person.
Yes.
And it can be used in so many different ways.
Yes. And autistic brains like gravitate towards subjects. Like that is a diagnostic feature of autism. Like use that. If your brain gravitates towards like beats and patterns, like music is your thing. If it's rule governed, like must follow rule, air traffic controller. Like we just need society to be more open-minded and accepting of individuals with
thankfully, I feel like we're there. I feel like we're on that road.
Yeah.
We're on that road.
Remember that one video we did of that woman that was a BCBA? And
yes, I thought about her earlier.
Yeah, one video that we did, it was a woman who's a BCBA and she submitted 10 job applications. On 5 of them, she put that she had autism, and on 5 of them, she did not. She got interviewed and offered jobs for all 5 of the ones that she did not say she was autistic, and she only got interviewed and did not get the job for one of the jobs where she said she was autistic.
She's literally walked through it, and a BCBA has earned those letters. Probably could speak to it more than
and then
most.
Like people in our field basically judged her and said, you don't get the job because you have autism, which, wow.
Yeah. Pause for just...
Yeah, let's all just take a deep breath and accept that reality.
Yeah.
15 years ago to where we are now is so different.
Yeah.
And with the rate of diagnoses and the rate of referrals, all that is going to do is bring awareness across families, across community, across society, across the working force. Like, we can't hide the number of individuals that are being diagnosed.
Yes.
So hopefully 15 years from now, we're very, very proud of where we are coming from today versus what we were 15 years ago.
The world is just more open about like mental health things and just any internal states. Like people are not hiding their own internal struggles in like a shame box and not telling anybody. Like people are being open about negative experiences they have or mental health struggles or diagnoses. And that just opens up the conversation. It allows other people to go, me too. Like I've experienced that too. And like talk about it and other people to see like, oh, I have a whole bunch of friends who like have this diagnosis or have this like mental health experience. And it just makes it better for all of us because everyone's talking more, everyone's more aware, everyone's more accepting. Like,
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Please like, follow, subscribe, smash that link somewhere.
It's somewhere up here. We love it, guys.
We should learn.
Yeah.
Bye.